the slips be back. Again, read the description for clarifications, explanations, and corrections. Till then, enjoy the video, motherfuckers. I hear the ticking of a clock in an empty room. Ladies and gentlemen, that came from the heart. Anyway, welcome to your 6th Essential Chemistry video. Today we'll be talking about naming and doing the formulas for covalent molecules. A reminder that covalent molecules are just two non-metal atoms covalently bonded. So non-metals are anything that are to the right of these metalloids here, to the right of boron, silicon, arsenic. I think that's arsenic, I don't know. Next to As, or this one or this one. The shaded in area here is all the non-metals, and hydrogen's a non-metal as well. Now, every covalent molecule has a name which describes the structure, and a formula which is just the chemical symbols and the number of atoms in the molecule. So if we take this, for example, into O2, you've probably seen something like this in a chemical equation or whatever. Now, of course, this is the chemical symbol for nitrogen. And this is the chemical symbol for oxygen. So we know this molecule has nitrogen and oxygen in it. And this little 2 here tells you that there's 2 nitrogens, so times 2. And this little 2 here tells you that there's 2 oxygens. So the molecule has 2 nitrogens and 2 oxygens, right? This is its formula. If we were to put this into actual words, we would write the name of the element that's leftmost on the periodic table, which would be nitrogen. And then we'd write the other element, which is oxygen. However, we wouldn't write oxygen. We would replace the end of it with, beg your pardon, with this nitrogen. We'd say it's oxide. Oh, I don't know, it's on the drugs, man, on the drugs. Oxide. The second part of the name always ends in "ide." Since there's 2 nitrogens, we put dinitrogen, and since there's 2 oxygens, we put dioxide. Of course, this M would be a lowercase, and this O would be a lowercase. When referencing the number of a type of element, or of an element in a molecule, we've put one of these in the beginning. If it's got just one of the element, we put mono, 2 di, 3 tri, then tetra, penta, hexa, hepta, octa, nona, deca. There's more, but we'll only do the first 10 here. Word of advice: if we do something like tetra, if something had 4 oxygens in it, we wouldn't put tetraoxide. We'd put tetroxide. Why is this? Because if you're putting one of these prefixes before the element names, you can't have an A followed by an O or an O followed by an O. So if we had tetraoxide, we'd have an A followed by an O, and we can't have that. So no AOs and no double O's. So let's go over some examples. I'll put some examples in the description with answers as well if you want to practice. Let's do this. P2 O3. Now we've got phosphorus, and that's the leftmost element in the periodic table, that is. Not in the name. Phosphor. I'm terrible at spelling, by the way, so bear with me. And the second, and the leftover element is oxygen, which would be oxide. I think I misspelt it in the last example, perhaps. We've got two phosphoruses, so that would be diphosphorus, and three oxygens, so that would be trioxide. So I'll write it neater for you. Diphosphorus trioxide. And an I and an O is fine. Just to show you our name list again. We've got two phosphoruses, so that's diphosphorus, and we've got three oxygens, so that's trioxide. Let's do another example. Example 2. Let's put silicon. BR6. So the leftmost element in the periodic table, not in the name, is silicon, and the leftover element is bromine. We've got two silicon, so two silicon atoms, so that's disilicon, and bloody hell, that should be bromide. And we've got 6 bromines, so that'd be hexa. So it's disilicon hexabromide. And we'll do another example. You can do these along with me if you want. Let's see. Haha. Fuck. Well, before that unfortunate accident happened, let's do this. CO. So we've got carbon here, the chemical symbol for carbon, which is also the leftmost element in the periodic table in the formula. And we've got oxygen left over, which would be oxide. Now here's a funny rule. If the first part of the name only has one atom of the element, we don't put mono, we just leave it alone. So we don't need to put mono there. And the second part, we do need to put mono oxide, not mono oxide, remember, because that'd be 2O, so it's just monoxide. So it's carbon monoxide. And of course, all the letters will be the same size here. I'm just squeezing the mon in. And also notice that we don't have ones here in the chemical formula, because it's just assumed if you write the chemical symbol in the formula without a number specifying how many you have, so a little number here, it means you have one of that atom. This is what usually happens. You're not going to see C1, O1. That's just unnecessary. Pardon, Squire. We'll do a couple more examples, and I'll piss off. There, you bitch. Let's also do it the other way around. How about dinitrogen? So write the formulas this time. Dinitrogen pentoxide. Again, it wouldn't be pentaoxide. We can't have an A followed by an O in the name. So we've got nitrogen, chemical symbol for nitrogen. And how many have we got? We've got 2, because that's di. And we've got oxide. How many have we got? Pent. What's pent again? 5. So that's N2O5. Let's do another one. 2 more, then I'll go away. Sulfur. We'll spell it the British way. Hey, boys. Dioxide. So we've got sulfur, chemical symbol for that is S, I believe. How many have we got? Doesn't specify, so we're just going to assume 1. So we won't write anything, because again, If you just write the chemical symbol without specifying the number, it's just assumed you mean 1. We've got oxygen, we've got 2 of them. And the last example for this video. Oh, this is a big boy. Tetra phosphorus Oxide. Damn. So we've got phosphorus here. That's P. How many have we got? 4. Got oxide. How many have we got? What's Dec? That's 10. P4O10. Again, there'll be examples in the description. Thanks for joining me. Thanks, guys. And next time we'll probably be covering ionic formulas, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, see ya. We're on the rogue cam, boys. Anyway, I thought I'd do an extra example. Just occurred to me that this might be helpful. So, example 7. Let's draw the atom form now. So let's steady it. You know that. What's the name of that? Well, let's draw the name first. Let's draw the formula first. So we've got hydrogen and oxygen. What's the leftmost element on the periodic table? What's the most to the left? That would be hydrogen. So that would be H. How many have we got to, like, you know this, right? I've got oxygen, and we've got 1, so we don't specify. What's the name? We've got hydrogen. How many? Dihydrogen. And 1 oxygen, so monoxide. So that would be helpful, seeing it go from atom to formula to name as well. Anyway, bye bye.